This is the first episode of our Hiking Near Cluj series, and today we are going to Peak Peana, the highest peak in the close proximity of Cluj. If I'm running, it takes me around 1 hour. Today we will see how much time it will be hiking. We are expecting snow, so I took my winter boots. We have arrived in the parking lot of the Roata Făget restaurant, so I will put on my boots and we are leaving to the peak. We are putting on the gaiters as well. Here we will turn left, and I'm not yet sure if we will need the micro spikes or not. Only here you can see something like that. One more reason to hike in Transylvania. It says 2 hours and 45 minutes to the peak. Here is the first junction that's easy to miss. Up there near that guy is the old marking. But here we could go straight ahead as well, we wouldn't get too much lost. But instead we will go left into the forest. According to the old sign, 10 kilometers, 3 hours. In the past, the trail went ahead here, but at some point this ditch appeared, over which we jumped at some point, but now there is a trail to the left. Here's the first place where we can get lost quite easily. It took me some tries until I realized that the trail isn't going ahead here, but to the right. Those signs on the trees were not there. We have put on the micro spikes because the snow is frozen. And also the first steep climb follows. It took us 25 minutes to get here, including the time needed to put on the micro spikes. Here's the end of the first steep part, and we will have shortly a viewpoint to the right. Running, it takes me around 7 minutes to get here, so we are in time. Here the path goes straight ahead into the bushes, but we are going to the right to the viewpoint. It's just a few steps. The snow is deeper here, so it's good that we have the gaiters. Unfortunately, these shacks are in a really bad state. Some time ago they were almost perfect, and from here we already have a nice view. From here the path is not that easy to find, especially when the vegetation is thick. This alternative is not so good, so we go back to the main path and turn right from there. It will be easy for us now because recently there was a race here and the path is marked with tape. But when the vegetation is not dry like now, but green and dense, it's a little bit difficult to find the path. Up to this point, the blue cross and the orange dot came along together, and here's the point where they are splitting. The orange dot is actually the route of a contest which describes a 6-kilometer circuit and goes back to the restaurant. But we are going ahead following the blue cross. Here the trails split, there's the blue cross and there's the orange dot. I have on only a long sleeve shirt and a fleece, but I'm still feeling hot. You don't have to put on too many layers because you are generating heat from moving. You have to avoid sweating because it's even more dangerous than in the summertime. We are arriving at another point when it's easy to get lost, but if we look carefully we can notice an arrow pointing to the left. Now we are arriving to the place called the Meadow of the Priests, where from the left, from the St. John Spring, comes the red triangle marking and follows to the right this way to the Brühl viewpoint. But unfortunately this branch is quite hard to follow because of the fallen trees. Last time we even managed to get lost there, so I don't recommend you to try it without a GPS track. To get to the viewpoint, use the southern branch. That would be it. To the right, you can see there the red triangle marking, and there are only footpaths of animals that way. So this is the junction to the Brühl viewpoint. And shortly from the left, the path from the St. John Spring. So here's the junction. Here we have some crossroads, which are even more confusing when there is no snow. Here we see the red triangle from the right, so this is the best option to get to the viewpoint, but we are following along the blue mark. On your way back, don't miss that right turn. Those guys almost missed it as well. Around here we have met a huge boar last autumn during trail running. Soon we arrive to Râtul Penii, so I will put back on my fleece because I expect stronger winds there. After 3.5 kilometers, we arrived to Râtul Penii, and here the wind is blowing strongly, so it was a good decision to put on back the fleece. Lots of people with sleds here, that's why there are so many cars as well. Here we need to cross the main road. We have left 2.5 hours ago and we still have half an hour left. 4.1 kilometers so far. Here we need to take a right turn. Here we need to climb up. It doesn't look that bad, but it won't be easy in the snow. Straight ahead we have the blue line going to Peak Magura. Soon we arrive on the ridge, and from that on it won't be this steep. It wasn't that bad. The snow is firm with steps in it. We are getting close now. This is the first time we see the sun since we left. Its warmth feels good. We are getting close to the summit. The old path goes straight ahead, then takes a left turn, and this orange dot which we meet again is just a shortcut to the peak, but the difference is minor. From what I see, the snow is bigger here, so we will use the old path. Well, it was a bad decision because there are no steps here at all. As soon as we got out of the forest, the wind started blowing again, so we need to put on some warm clothes. Here's the peak, which unfortunately is on private land, in spite of several people trying to stop that. Here we have the sign, Peak Peana, 833 meters. And here we have a board about the nature reserve. Do you see that? No ATVs, dogs only on a leash, no loud music, and so on. We should really respect that. We have put on some warm puffy jackets because in the winter it's easy to get cold when you stop, even if you don't need to dress up that much while moving. And I have found something interesting, a new sign, the Red Cross, which actually is an old trail, but these signs are clearly new, and in a future episode we will check out where do they go. It took us about 3 hours and 5 minutes to get to the peak in winter conditions. My Fitbit shows 5.1 kilometers, but this will differ from device to device. We stayed about 15 minutes on the peak and we are heading back because it's getting cold and to arrive back in Cluj in reasonable time. We are arriving back to the car. It only took us 2 hours on the way back. It's interesting that we didn't need the headlamps because the trees didn't block the moonlight reflecting from the snow.